We are joining you live from Paris at 4 p.m. and we're going right to the court. A court Suzanne Lenglen where Andre Agassi is in action against Frenchman Julian Boutter. Agassi has won the first 2 sets, and now Agassi with 3 break points to take the edge in the 3rd set.
Agassi.
And Andre Agassi closing in on a trip to the 3rd round with John McEnroe. Ted Robinson, glad to have you with us. No trouble for Andre.
Well, there's some good news and bad news. The good news is this: Agassi is cruising. Boutter is spent. He won his first 5-set match of his career against Albert Casa, and you better believe Andre Agassi had a little bit bigger smile on when he saw his opponent was going to be Julian Boutter, who is an aggressive player, plays short points, and likes to come to net. This is like throwing a piece of meat at a lion. You know, someone who returns and counter punches as well as Agassi.
That's when you know maybe it's your tournament, when a win like that happens in your section of the draw.
Because that's exactly right. Because if I think he could have beaten and would have beaten Costa, but I think it would have taken a lot more out of him. Now we'll get a quick look at Boutter before his history at 27. He's been around a long time. This is his best year he's ever had. It's the first year, Ted, he's ever made it straight into this tournament without having to get a wild card. So credit Boutter for winning a great win for him to beat Albert Casa, who's been a threat here in the past.
If he had been a wild card, Boutter had been 3 straight years at Roland Garros, and only the 2nd time he'd ever won a match here when he beat Costa.
But he's 27. And as recently as the end of '99, he was 279 in the world. Well, you know what that means? That means he was losing to Cedric Kaufman, who's at least 250. But last year, despite a 10-16 match record, he got up to 70 in the world. Obviously, did well in some minor events, satellites.
Boutter has an outstanding victory to his record this year. He beat Greg Rosetsky, who's had a sort of a rebound year in the semis in Milan. Reached his first ever final and lost in that final to Roger Federer. But that's about it for Julian Boutter, folks.
Capriati coming up.
And that will be the story today after Andre Agassi's match on court Suzanne Lenglen. We'll be seeing Jennifer Capriati live. Now, of course, the other story that took place today and has just happened, Pete Sampras has lost. Not a surprise. Maybe a little bit the fact it went down fairly easily to Galo Blanco.
We talked about Blanco a couple days ago. Remember, he beat Rafter in the Open last year, and this is his far better surface. Sampras had to put out so much of an effort just to beat Kaufman that you just... I mean, I think tennis people knew that it was going to be tough for him to even get by Blanco. And you mentioned it's not as hot, but it is windy. And Pete's ground strokes, I mean, he needs to sort of see that ball cleanly. He wasn't able to do so, and Blanco plays that high looping style, safer percentage, and it was a routine win for Blanco, 6-3 and 2.
Yeah, the first set and a tie break, and then it was easy for Blanco.
Wouldn't you like to be able to hit a forehand like that? He's sliding about 7-8 feet and then hitting the winner. And this is Sampras all day, just a frustrated man, not getting any breaks whatsoever, never getting in any sort of groove. And I think he, to be honest, the reason I know this is because it happened to me. I think he went out there thinking he's not going to pull this thing out.
Half expecting, even more than half. Well, Pete Sampras is, and I think, John, maybe even the question is to ask is why Pete tries. You know, with all he's accomplished in his career at this stage, why he'd even try to win.
He has so much pride that I think he would look at it as like he was a quitter if he didn't come out here and make the effort. Plus, if nothing else, Ted, and one of the question marks about Pete, you can get away with it easier with that big serve, is his fitness. So it forces him to get on the court on a regular basis, get himself in pretty good condition for Wimbledon. I just saw him in the locker room, and he's at that point now in his life. He's happily married. He's going to go back to L.A. tomorrow for a week or 10 days. Then he's starting to question whether he should even come back for Queens, because he'd like to hang with the missus a little bit longer at home. And as your career winds down, you start to want to enjoy those moments more, the time off, but he's also got to play some matches before Wimbledon.
Does Pete have grass court in Southern California he could play on?
He has no plans to practice on grass before he goes back to London because the courts are so different. He's confident he can just practice in some Harpers, but just by the few minutes I spent with him, you can tell he's not quite sure what he's going to do at this point. But don't be surprised if you don't see him at Queens, and don't be surprised that after a week he's convinced by the people around, hey, it'd be a good idea to get over there. I'll tell you who'll make the decision, though. Bridget.
That's right.
If you get Bridget over there with him, then he'll play Queens. You know how that works.
Well, Boutter looking like a man who's seeing the finish line.
He's spent. And by the way, we came at 3. He was up 2 love in the set. So, that was his one moment in the sun. And the crowd loves Agassi, so they're not really that far. This is just token applause.
Set match, Agassi.
There it is. So Andre Agassi with